The night my fiancé told me I was too emotional, I said one word. Noted. Then I stopped sharing everything, including the job offer, including the apartment I had already signed for, including the moving truck I had booked for a Friday he knew nothing about. My name is Leah Brooks. I was 31 years old, and what ended my 3-year engagement happened on a Tuesday evening while I was making dinner. Ryan and I were supposed to discuss the wedding budget. His parents were covering the venue and catering, $22,000. We were splitting the rest, about $6,800 each. I suggested we look at our finances before committing. He slammed his glass down. Oh my God, not this again. I'm done listening to your feelings and needs. You're too emotional. Do you know how exhausting it is? My mom never acted like this. I turned off the stove. Lost my appetite. You want me to stop sharing my feelings? I want you to keep them to yourself. I can't be your therapist. I said one word. Noted. That night I made a decision. He didn't want to hear my feelings. He would hear nothing at all. Next morning a recruiter messaged me on LinkedIn. Senior software architect. Different state. $105,000 raise. $12,000 signing bonus. Full relocation. I would normally have discussed this with my partner. Not this time. Phone screen that afternoon. Nailed it. Second interview Friday. Offer by Monday. I signed it at 11:34 a.m. Start date 6 weeks out. Ryan was on his phone when I got home. How was work? Fine. I said nothing else. That week I found an apartment. Signed the lease. My name only. Just like our current place, which I had signed before Ryan moved in. I gave notice at work. Started quietly decluttering on weekends. Moving boxes to a storage unit. Telling Ryan I was donating everything. He loved it. See, this is what I've been saying. You had so much stuff. Sure, I said. Week 5 I booked the moving truck. Friday at 9 a.m. Ryan had mentioned he would be home all day Friday. Back-to-back video calls until at least 3. Even better. Friday morning he made coffee, sat at his laptop, and told me not to make noise. Big meeting day. I told him it wouldn't be a problem. At 8:58 the truck pulled up. 3 movers with dollies stood at the door. I directed them to everything that was mine. Ryan's head whipped around from his screen. He held up a finger toward his camera. Sorry, let me share my screen. The movers kept working. First trip out. The couch. He looked at the movers, looked at me, mouthed, "What is happening?" I texted him, "Moving. Stay on your call." His eyes went huge. Second trip. The TV, the desk, the bookshelf. He unmuted for his meeting. Yes, I agree with that approach. His voice was shaking. He texted between calls. You can't just leave. We're getting married. You said you were done listening to my feelings. So I stopped sharing them, including this. 3 hours later the truck was loaded. I walked over and set my keys and the garage remote on the table in front of him. Lease ends in 2 weeks. Your name isn't on it. Figure it out. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I walked out and closed the door. By the time I stopped for gas an hour later there were 18 missed calls and 32 texts. Answer your phone. What state? I'm calling the police. You left me with nothing. You're a psychopath. I turned my phone off and drove the remaining 6 hours in peace. I arrived at my new apartment at 7:23 p.m., ordered Chinese food, sat on my couch, turned my phone back on. 63 missed calls, over 100 texts, 12 voicemails. VM1. What the hell is going on? VM3. The landlord says only your name is on the lease. What am I supposed to do? VM6. My mom is crying. You're a coward. Everyone is going to know what you did. I texted him once. You told me you were done listening to my feelings. I took you seriously. I stopped sharing everything, including the job, the apartment, and the move. The lease ends in 2 weeks. Don't contact me again. Then I blocked his number and went to sleep. The next morning I had 26 emails. Ryan, his mother, his sister, his father, his best friend. $22,000 is gone. You will hear from our attorney. I replied once. I never signed a contract for the wedding. I never paid a deposit. You planned it without my input because Ryan said he didn't want to hear my feelings. Sue me if you want. You'll lose. Then came the lawsuit. Breach of promise. $11,000 for half the deposits. My lawyer read it and laughed. Not recognized in this state. You signed nothing, paid nothing, dropped in 2 weeks. His family showed up at my door. Certified letters. His best friend calling my work line. His father at my apartment building. I documented everything, sent cease and desist letters, and eventually the noise stopped. Month 4. A mutual friend called. She's telling everyone you ghosted him with no warning. He told me he was done listening to my feelings and that I was too emotional, I said. So I stopped sharing things, including the job and the move. A pause. He's not mentioning that part. Of course not. Week 17. A certified letter from Ryan's father. Not threats this time. I found messages on Ryan's phone. He called you exhausting. Said he was training you to be less needy. I confronted him. He admitted it. I'm ashamed of him. I'm sorry I blamed you. You did what you had to do. Month 6. Ryan sent one final email. 4 months of therapy. I was wrong. I was dismissive. I made you feel like your feelings were a burden. I understand why you left. I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to leave that way. I hope you're happy. I read it 3 times. Felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just nothing. Closed the email. Moved on. Life is genuinely good now. New job. New city. New apartment that feels like mine. I share my feelings with people who actually want to hear them. What a difference that makes. Ryan wanted a woman who kept quiet and stopped having so many feelings. He got exactly that for 6 weeks while I built my way out. Then he got nothing at all. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is give people exactly what they asked for, and then leave. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and drop the city you are watching from in the comments. I want to see how far this has traveled.